What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Hope everybody's day is going well. I'm Arm and Hammer. You already know what it is. Back at it again with another video. Arena fighters are not bad. I'm getting tired of seeing this argument everywhere where it's like, oh, arena fighters are trash. That's the reason these games keep dying, because they're all shitty arena fighters. Like, no, that's not the problem, bro. Because we got to remember, even back then, we had some good hits. The problem is these days that most companies don't really give a crap about the product they're making, because even back then, like when we were getting hits, yeah, the story mode wasn't all that, but the other 95% of the game was just so fun. It was just so packed to the brim with so much shit to do that having a lackluster story mode didn't matter. Like, as long as the rest of the game was fun, then the overall product was solid. But what a lot of companies like to do these days is not only will they take effort away from the story mode, but they'll take effort away from everywhere else and then just make a mid-ass game in general. And that's why, you know, anime fighters these days just keep flopping. You know what I mean? On top of that, I don't really feel like anime fighters have evolved too much within this past decade. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like every single anime fighting game should be trying to correctly simulate the anime that it's trying to adapt. Like, even to this day, I don't think there's been an anime title that correctly simulated its anime, except for the Tenkaichi series with Dragon Ball. Like look at Budokai Tenkaichi 3, even Sparking Zero. You can do everything in these games that they do in Dragon Ball. Like, you can fly, you can charge, you have free range of movement, you can punch niggas in the gut, you can shoot ki blasts out of your hands, you can clash, you can fight. Like, the game is so fast paced, it might as well be Dragon Ball. Like, the Tenkaichi series is literally Dragon Ball the game, right? So with these new anime fighters, like, not only do they need to lock in and make good products, but they also need to make the games like unique in terms of fighting mechanics. Like, I feel like the Storm series comes close enough. If they locked in and made one more big Naruto game that, you know, took elements from Storm, but like it was a whole new like fighting game in general, Naruto could do it. But like, in terms of animes like One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, yada yada yada, y'all still got a long way to go. So I know in my last video, you know, we talked a little bit about the anime fighters that were coming out back then. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about what's wrong with the anime fighters that we're getting now, and that includes Storm Connections, Sparking Zero, and Bleach Rebirth of Souls. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So strike one for me was Naruto Storm Connections. You know what I'm saying? Because Storm Connections was supposed to be quote unquote the next big Naruto game. The problem is it feels more like an expansion rather than an actual new game. You know what I mean? Because first of all, they copy and pasted the vast majority of Storm 4. Keep in mind, I said majority. They changed a couple of gameplay mechanics, and then they carbon copied a couple of characters from Storm 4, but then tried to advertise them as new characters. Like Storm niggas, correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, but I think it was like a Sasuke or something that they tried to advertise, and niggas were like, wait, what are you talking about? We literally already have this character, bro. That was crazy, bro. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. And they also removed the super interactive story mode that was in Storm 4 and then replaced it with the PNG slideshow. So that right there should pretty much tell you all you need to know. Now, they did make some positive changes, right? You know, not only the basic changes like uncapping the frame rate, upscaling the overall texture quality of the game. They also made a couple of gameplay mechanic changes where, for example, that health bullshit that was in Storm 4 where your health would carry over between rounds, yeah, that's not there anymore. So your health automatically resets after every round. On top of that, your chakra actually recharges on its own, so you don't have to stand there every 2 seconds having to stand there and recharge that shit. You can just jump right in if you deem that you have enough chakra to get back into the action. Now, this made the game a lot more catered towards aggressive players, and that in turn made the game a lot more faster paced. So I'll give them that one. that was a positive change. However, a lot of these changes could have just easily been patched into Storm 4. You know what I mean? So what I think they should have done was they should have made a free PS5 upgrade port for Storm 4 where they would implement everything like the uncapped frame rate, the upscaled quality, you know what I mean, implement the gameplay mechanic changes, right? That way you still have a full product where you have the super interactive story mode, you have the gameplay changes, you have the quote-unquote new characters, and on top of that they can just keep, you know, Xenoverse 2ing that game where they can just keep throwing content at it, right? And in the back end they could develop some super high octane, super high budget new Naruto fighting game that would come out actually around this time, maybe next year, right? And then those niggas that fuck with the new Naruto game, they can play that game. And for those of y'all that are like, well, I think I prefer the Storm series better, well, they can stay on the PS5 Storm 4 game, right? And everybody wins. But nope, they had to get your cash, but they had to get your money, nigga. So they had to make Naruto Storm Connections, a game that is an extreme waste of time and money, because let's be for real, they had pretty much done all they could with the series at its peak with Ultimate Ninja Storm 4. So if we being for real, the series really didn't need another installment. Like I said before, if they wanted like a modernized Storm for Naruto fans to play, they could have just made like a free upgrade port for PS5 and just thrown content at that, right? But yeah, man, Naruto fans, y'all got hoed, bruh. I'm not even gonna lie. Now with Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and I'm not gonna be on this one for too long because I'm sure the last thing y'all want to see me do is harp on Dragon Ball Sparking Zero for the 150th time. But with Sparking Zero, I do think the effort was there. Like, you know, the visuals are clean, the combat is clean. They were definitely locked the fuck in at the beginning of the production of this game. However, you know, there's a difference between a lot of effort and enough effort, because, you know, y'all spent so much time on the visuals, you know, the graphics, animating all the characters, you know, making sure the game plays somewhat like the old Tenkaichi series, that y'all damn near forgot about everything else. And that's where the enough part comes in, right? Like I said before, you know, the effort is definitely there, but in the other areas of the game, you know, specifically the new shit that y'all introduced, like the what ifs, you know, the new customization, right, the episode battles, the custom battles, I feel like there was just very little effort put into that, and that is what drove a lot of people off of this game, you know what I mean? And a lot of people were saying that Sparking Zero ended up being rushed to meet up with the release of Dragon Ball Daima, and now that I'm thinking about it, it low-key makes sense. Like, they would do something like that, which is funny because when they were hyping all of us up with those trailers, the one thing we told them not to do was, hey, don't rush the game. Please do not rush this game. Delay it if you need to, bro. We can wait. But, you know, it's Bandai, it's Spike Chunsoft. they always gotta rush, bro. I don't know why. Like, they didn't have to rush the game. If only they didn't rush the game. Like, nigga, we had Daima coming out, bro. We could have waited a little while longer. Like, come on now. Do I think that they can turn this mistake around in the future? Yeah, right. They already confirmed that we're getting a sequel game at some point, right? But however, it's Bandai, right? Bandai is known for their insanity, making the same goddamn mistake over and over and over and over again. So we're just gonna have to see, right? On top of that, like, let's think about it, right? Dragon Ball is Bandai's love child, right? When it comes to the production of any anime fighting game, the most effort that they are willing to put into any of them is through Dragon Ball, right? Yes, I know Naruto is there as well, but let's be for real, the golden child of anime games is Dragon Ball, right? So I would say for future anime games, like, it's most likely of you to expect an anime fighting game that is either on the level of quality of Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which I highly doubt because it's not Dragon Ball. Like, that automatically marks off 50% effort right there. Like, let's be for real, and y'all know this is true. Or it's going to be less than this quality, which look at the anime fighters we've been getting recently. That is obviously the case. So hopefully in the sequel game we get something, bro. Like, we get something that has a lot more content, you know, the missing links, you know, everything that they wanted to show off in this game. Hopefully we get that in the next game, bro. But without further ado, let's move on to the last title. Now, with Bleach Rebirth of Souls, the combat is definitely not generic in any way. You know, it's definitely got a more unique feel to it than other anime arena fighters. Bleach Rebirth of Souls is definitely a good first entry in a potential series of Bleach games. I don't know if they confirmed if they were doing that already. In my opinion, the combat just needs to be a little bit more faster paced. Now, with Bleach, what I would have preferred is sort of like a Devil May Cry X Tenkaichi type of combat play style with the Bleach game. But hey, we got this. I'm not mad about it, just as long as they're willing to keep refining it. The other thing, I think the developers of this game made the same mistake as the Sparking devs made, where yes, the combat system is solid, yes, the visuals are solid, and we'll get the visuals in a second, but there's just not enough shit surrounding the gameplay to, you know, keep people on the game, right? I don't know what the content is looking like, what the season pass is looking like. For those of y'all that are still playing this, let me know down in the comment section, like, how's the season pass looking? Because I'm not gonna lie, I deleted this game like after a couple of weeks. Like, I played online, I was like, okay, combat system is a little too slow for me. Like, it's solid, but it's too slow, I'm not gonna lie. And on top of that, like, there wasn't shit to do. Like, just like Sparking, you had to sit around and wait for DLC characters to drop, you know what I mean? Now, another mistake that they made with this game was the visual element. Now, when the visuals are locked in, like when it actually shows cutscenes, for example, like the counter break, the soul break, the ultimate attacks, like the visuals look amazing, but the in-game visuals, like when you're actually playing, that shit looks like a PS4 game, bro. I'm not gonna lie. You can see all the pixels. Like, and I feel like them making this game for PS4 is the #1 thing that held this game back in terms of visuals. Like, this could have been exactly like Sparking, where it looks and feels like a PS5 game, but I don't know, bruh. Like, anime titles in general, like, they need to stop trying to backtrack to the PS4 era, bro. That era is done, bro. Like, we don't need to be going back to a game system that was made in 2012. So that's the one thing that SparkingZero and the new My Hero game did right, at least, right? Anyways, y'all, that's the video. Let me know you guys' thoughts about the problem with these current arena fighters down in the comment section. Like I said, I don't think they're trash, bro. I don't think games being arena fighters are necessarily the problem. It's just the companies that are making them. Let me know what you guys think the problem is with these new anime fighting games down in the comments, bro. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this. But anyways, y'all, that's it from me. I'm Armin Hammer. You already know what it is. Lay out, boys. Stay safe. Peace out. And I'm gonna see you on the next one.